Go.
All right. And 3, 2. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this episode of the RGVSports.com podcast. I'm your host for this episode. My name is John LaFollette, and I cover high school sports for the Monitor in McAllen, Texas, and for RGVSports.com for the world at large. If you listen to this, you might already know what this is. We want to do this every 2 years. This is our first time doing this, I suppose. This is the UIL realignment podcast. We are recording this at the Region 1 Student Service Center here on the campus of UTRGV in beautiful Edinburgh, as they say on the car commercials that you see sometimes. It's quiet in this room that we're in right now. About 3 hours ago, it was standing room only because you had every football coach in the Valley in here, along with a couple girls basketball coaches. I saw coaches aplenty, I guess you could say. Mario, we're in here. I just introduced Mario. He's our District 31 5A football reporter. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. I mean, still mourning the loss of Edinburgh Bella, but I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, we'll get to Edinburgh Valley here in a second. And on my left, your right, viewers on Periscope. Thanks for joining us if you're watching. Dennis Silva covers 32 5A. How you doing, Dennis?
Good.
Good? This seemed like, the way this played out, it seemed like there was a couple things that went as we expected because, leading up to this day, we've been talking to coaches, kind of keeping our ear to the ground, seeing what was going to happen. 32 6A worked out the way it would, but the bigger news today is 31 5A has to deal with 3 Laredo schools were brought into this district. Dennis, you just wrote a story about that. It's up on RGVSports.com and themonitor.com right now. What did you see? What happened here?
Well, I don't think anybody really saw this coming. I was talking to Roma coach Max Habecker, and he was saying how this was maybe third on the possibilities of Laredo schools coming down. I don't know what the deal was, but it's now the 2 Sheridan schools, Pine and Pioneer. It's Roma, Rio Grande City, Valley View, and Mission Veterans Memorial. And now they get 3. So now that goes from a 17 district to a 19 district. You have Laredo, Sigurd, Laredo, Martin, Laredo, Nixon coming in. So basically, I mean, coaches don't have much to say other than these are the cards we're dealt. We deal with it and we move forward. It's going to add a little bit more mileage to the buses when they go.
Yeah.
Especially for the sports that aren't football that do play twice a week.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, it did throw a monkey wrench in a lot of things, and it did allow, because PHA Southwest expected to be in 31 5A. That seemed to make the most sense, with 2 Brownsville schools dropping to make 32 5A and 18 district. PHA Southwest ended up in 32 5A, so now they get to appeal because that's a 19 district, and they get to go to 31 6A with their sister schools, make that an 18 district, and 32 5A becomes an 18 district, which is what they were before, which is what they want. So basically, the Laredo schools, that whole thingamajig, threw a wrench into things, made life a little bit more difficult for the 31 5A members that were already there, but also opened the door for a great opportunity for PHA Southwest.
I liked your use of "we." Do you want to give us your best Irish accent?
I do not.
Okay. You mentioned that this, Laredo was a possibility. Excuse me, but it was low on the totem pole in terms of what they expected. Did you ask them, any of the coaches or any UIL officials who may have been here, what the process might have been that went into the decision-making to lump Laredo into this, or is that just something we don't really know right now?
No, we won't know until we talk to the UIL athletic director as far as what their thinking was. The coaches, they don't know. They're given this. They get the packets. They're going to get the packets. They're not given any heads up as far as what's going to happen. Come into Monday morning, they know as much as you and I do as far as where they're going to be reassigned and reclassified to. And it's one of those things where, I mean, you just kind of have to deal with it for whatever reason, whether it's just a balance of the Laredo schools. I don't know what plan B would have been for the Laredo as this situation was, putting them in the Valley schools. So it's just one of those things where it worked however it worked, and they've got to deal with it and move forward.
You mentioned the Laredo schools. This works for you because you have covered some Laredo schools in your past. You spent some time working at the Laredo paper there. Tell us what you know about these teams. I know it's been a while since you've been there, but tell us a bit about these teams and what you kind of see how they play into this district.
Laredo Martin especially does not have a rich playoff history. They've gotten a lot better since they've gotten Coach David Charles there within the past 3 or 4 years. When I left there in 2012, he had just gotten hired.
Okay.
He's led them to a couple playoff appearances. Nixon's pretty solid. Tommy Ramirez over there does a real good job, good defense, run game. Laredo Figueroa is pretty much, I mean, they're not going to make the playoffs, but they're not bad. They're like in between, a mediocre team. So what you're essentially getting in 31 5A now are 2 more teams that can compete for, at the very least, that last playoff spot. You're not getting teams that, cupcake, and we're going to be able to get a lot of numbers against. You're going to get teams that, okay, the Rio Grande Cities, the Romas, the Pioneers. You now just got more competition for those last couple of playoff spots there.
Mario, you cover this district for football. With these 3 Laredo schools coming in, which Valley team gets affected the most here in terms of seeing their chances of getting to the playoffs or the postseason kind of go down a bit? Who hurts here?
Well, are we penciling in Laredo, the 3 Laredo schools as a playoff team?
I would pencil. You know what? Let's just say best case scenario for the Valley schools, and 1 gets in.
1 gets in. Okay.
Let's see. For next season, it's tough because 31-5A I thought was maybe a 4 to 5 team district as it was. So this kind of, I don't know who would affect next season. I don't think the Valley teams are shedding any tears for Edinburgh Villa leaving. That opens up a playoff spot. Valley View, even though they were winless, they're on the come up. Mission Vet should be good. They're good every year. Sherlin High, kind of rebuilding last season. I would expect them to make the playoffs. I think it just makes it harder on Rio Grande City. I mean, Roma had a good year, even though they were bounced from the first round. They had the best year in school history. So I think it'll be really competitive. I don't know who it affects immediately. I would say that I had expected a lot of these Valley teams to be competitive. Like, Rio Grande City's in transition right now, so I guess they would have the biggest challenge. But I mean, everyone else seems like they're coming up. So
we've seen Rio Grande City play Laredo Cigarroa, at least a team which is in this district. Yeah. They played them non-district last year. Rio Grande City beat them 19-0. So it seems like at least of the 3 Laredo schools, Cigarroa, as you mentioned, Dennis, might be on the lower end there. But let's say,
and sorry, before I go on, Roma coach Habaker is from Laredo, and routinely scheduled Laredo teams in his non-district schedule, like Cigarroa, and he's very familiar with those coaches in that area. So he, more than anyone in that district, pretty much has an idea of what he's getting,
right,
and he'll be prepared for it. Probably has that edge.
And he, more than any other school, or just he more than any other coach, is kind of not affected by today, in the sense that they would travel an hour down here to the valley, and now, or this part of the valley, now they travel up an hour north. Is it north?
It would be an hour further west.
Yeah, further west. So either way, they're unaffected by the Laredo schools. I mean, Valley View, I think, is the one that would be most affected by it.
They're what, in Hidalgo? So you got to drive from Hidalgo all the way up to Laredo?
They're far, but it's
far. Yeah, but their stadium's in Hidalgo, isn't it? Okay. Yeah. Let's say that 2 Laredo schools get in. Mm-hmm. So that leaves 2 Valley teams. Who are the 2 Valley teams? I know it's February 1st now. We've got a long ways to go before you even find out what some of these teams are going to look like. But just now, who would you say are the 2 Valley teams that get in if we got 2 Laredo schools that are automatic here?
That's tough. I mean, the only one that I think is you could pencil in as not being a playoff team is Rio Grande City, just because of the coach. But even then, they were competitive in games. I don't think they were slouches last year. And Valley View, again, like, even though they were 0-10, they had a lot of close games there. And Adam Sleece is in a play for them. He transferred from Mission Vets, and I was talking to the coach today, and he said that he planned on having Adam as their starting quarterback next season. He was a backup in Mission Vets, so that team should grow from last season. So that's tough. I mean, I can't. It's tough. I wouldn't even know where to begin with that.
I covered 31-6A, but 36A, our beat reporter Greg Luke, who some of you might know, he is not here. He was feeling a bit under the weather. But in terms of 36A, nothing changes there. It's the same 7 teams.
Well, John, we do have one big change.
What's that?
Corey Detmer is leading the charge now for the Mission Eagles.
Who's that? Oh, yeah, Corey Detmer. Wait, is he
went from the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah, okay. Yeah, he was like a backup quarterback in the Super Bowl, right?
I believe so.
I think he was on that Philadelphia team that was in the Super Bowl. So,
but that's a big move for them. They just made that hire today, just released, and Corey Detmer.
Sure.
Brings a little. I'm still trying to sink it in and get it through, but I don't know, Mario, if you have any thoughts. Just getting
Is he from Mission?
Yeah.
He is from Mission. And he's from. You said he's from Mission. His dad coached there. You said?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Ty?
Interesting. That's sure. Why not? That seems.
It's a really good hire.
Yeah, it's a good hire. Seems like on paper at least. I don't know anything about other than the fact that he was in the Super Bowl. I don't know anything about.
Like his coaching style, yeah.
Yeah, his coaching style or anything. And I know with Mission, that's a school that is looking for at least some kind of identity, at least because these last couple of years they've kind of struggled with that. It seems like their defense was strong this year, but in terms of the actual schools within the district, though, nothing changes.
Yeah,
It's the 3 McAllens, 3 La Joyas, and then you got Mission High there as well. One thing we talked about, the monkey wrench getting thrown into the system. That was the Laredo schools coming in. Another thing that happened the way we thought it would was Edinburgh Vela moves up to 6A. That was official. 31, they're in the district with 31 6A right now. The news with 31 6A is the two Westlaco schools, Westlaco High, Westlaco East, were moved over to 32 6A, along with those Fresno, San Benito, and the Harlingen schools. We'll get to that here in a second. But Vela, you had a chance to talk to Coach Michael Salinas there. What do you have to say? How's Vela just kind of take this news and move forward here?
I guess they weren't shocked by it. I guess we all kind of expected this once the numbers came in a couple months ago, when it showed that they would have the 6A numbers, and they're going to be in the lower end there of the 6A teams. But I mean, this could have happened 2 years ago when they petitioned to move up to 6A to join their sister schools there for
Right.
Edinburgh Vela. But then a couple weeks before, they pulled out. Their former AD pulled out, and so Edinburgh Vela, as we saw, they had a record season the last couple of years in 31-5A. And now this is just the next step for them as a school. As we saw every year, they went from 0-10, 5-5, 9-1, 10-0, and now they're going and kind of graduating, I guess, up a class to 6A and playing some of those other teams that I guess we've been eager to see, just because it seems like the last couple of years they really haven't had many challenges. They've kind of just breezed through the regular season outside of one loss to Sherilyn High. But it'd be interesting to see how they adapt it. I mean, they're still going to play 5A schools that are non-district. They see their non-district schedule go from 4 games to 3 games. And they're going to have some of those rivalry games there with the other Edinburgh High, North, Economides. And it'd be interesting to see, too, just how the next crop of kids come in, because they're just about to graduate their first 4-year class.
I've got a tentative copy of the SaberCat schedule here. Their non-district schedule is Corpus Christi Carroll, Ed Cal Chelsea, Brownsville Veterans. Then it's a bye week. And then from there, their district schedule is Edinburgh North, Edinburgh High, PHA Southwest, which is tentative. We'll talk about that here in a second. That could be an open date. And then you got PHA Memorial, PHA North, PHA High, Edinburgh Economides. 31-6A. I know Vela has that shiny new car smell, at least for this district, because they just got moved up. But I feel like with 31-6A, with the 2 Westlaco schools being taken out, this district just really lost its luster in terms of matchups. Because I think in this district, at least for football, you have your haves and your have-nots. Vela's going to be strong. PHA North's going to be strong. Econ has a strong defense. Edinburgh North has an identity with their quarterback. There's going to be a senior next season. But then you got PHA High, PHA Memorial, and Edinburgh High. And I think all 3 of those teams last year, they all missed the playoffs.
And Southwest.
Southwest, they all missed the playoffs. And I think combined, they totaled what, like, maybe if you include Southwest, like 7-8 wins? 7-8 wins. So those are teams that are still trying to build something there. So, I think I don't think this, at least in terms of football, this district is not that appealing. You mentioned coaching moves with Mission High there. Should note that PSU North hired Coach Marcus Kaufman, former offensive coordinator at McAllen Rowe. I think that's McAllen Memorial, a home run hire for them. I think, from what I understand, it came down between Coach Kaufman and Coach Ross Moore, Westlaco's highest defensive coordinator. I don't think there was a wrong choice either way, but excited to see what Coach Kaufman's going to bring to the Raiders. But like I said, I think the sex appeal, if you will, for 31-6A just lost its luster. But anyways, anything else we want to talk about here?
Paul Ray is a former coach at McAllen Road. Looks like he's going to be the OC for Rio Grande City.
Okay.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a nice staff then they're putting over there.
With and I should mention for PSU North, Bill Littleton's son, head coach, defensive coordinator, I believe, at Los Fresnos. He's now going to be defensive coordinator for PSJA North.
With Clint Finley leaving.
Yeah, with Clint Finley leaving. Who knows what's going to happen at Los Fresnos now? I saw like one Los Fresnos guy here at this meeting. I was like, I wanted to ask him, like, what are you even doing? Because like they don't have a coach, they don't really have much of a staff right now. So is it just like the principal or something? Is he just got like an athletics?
It could be just an athletic representative. They've got to figure out their schedule somehow. So.
Yeah, they have to. So, in terms of Westlaco High, though, we mentioned them. They're in 32-6A. They're in there with Harlingen South, Los Fresnos, San Benito. Football-wise, that's the best district, is it not? That's a meat grinder.
Yeah,
by far. It was the best district last year.
Yeah.
Westlaco High and Westlaco East.
Yep, and the 32-6A loses 2 Brownsville schools. Brownsville Vets, who is a very good team, but then you lose Brownsville Lopez, a team that was kind of an afterthought in terms of football in that district. So you lose 1, but you gain 2 excellent programs here. You got Westlaco High, Westlaco East, Harlingen South, Los Fresnos, San Benito, I mean, that's 6 teams right there fighting for 4 playoff spots. Like, what the hell's going to happen here? That's going to be fun.
I think it's going to be like the way we see in soccer where 32-6A or just Brownsville dominates in soccer, and then you have teams that don't make the playoffs there that would still be state caliber playoff teams had they been in other districts. I think that's how it is in football, where this year they're just going to be overloaded.
With 32-5A, you cover this district. Obviously, Southwest remains, but they looks like they will not be. From what I understand, Southwest coaches were here getting every coach in those 2 districts, 31-6A and 32-5A, to get on the same page to all agree to help Southwest get up to 31-6A.
And they did get unanimous approval from both districts.
Right. So it seems like this is all up to the UIL now. So
yes.
And so anyway, 32-5A, as I mentioned, you got Brownsville Vets and Brownsville Lopez in this district. You got 4 Brownsville schools, 4 Upper Valley schools, I should say. How's this district look, at least for football on paper right now?
Pretty good. I mean, you have Eckhouse and Mercedes. Donna is the reigning district champ, although they lost a lot of talent. And then you add Brownsville Vets, which is really a really good team. They went to the 3rd round, I guess it was 2 years ago, I think. So you just add a little bit more depth to that. I mean, other than that, it is a top-heavy district because you do pretty much have just those 4. I don't know much about.
Right, Donna
Lopez.
North is still trying to find something out. Lopez is still seems like they still struggle as
and
well.
Porter had a really good year as well, but they lost their stud running back, and I'm not sure exactly what they returned. But just looking at the 4 with Eckhouse, Mercedes, Donna High, and Brownsville Vets, that seems to me like a pretty strong 4.
I'm going to ask a question here. This will go for both of you. Who had the worst day here for UIL realignment? Could be take that question as you want about football, all sports in general. Just who had Dennis? I'll ask that for you first, and then Mario will come to you. So, who had the worst day here?
The worst day.
And I'm asking this just off the cuff right now. It just popped in my head.
Good question.
And I'll ask who had the best day too. So think about that as well. Who had the worst day here?
The worst day.
Probably the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th team in 32-6A. As they know that they can make the playoffs in other districts, but they won't be able to in that one just because it's going to be so competitive.
Okay. I'm gonna go with the 6 returning members for 31-5A having to now deal with the Laredo schools, and not only from the travel, but I do think you add from the travel standpoint, which they're gonna deal with anyway. They're not worried about that. I do think you're adding at least maybe 2 playoff teams to that with Martin and Nixon. And I do think that's going to take away opportunities from other teams. And coming into the day, no one even expected this really. So now you look at it, you're like, wait a minute. Now a league that you thought Velo was leading and could be just wide open, all of a sudden you add 2 more teams. Not only that, 2 more teams that you're unfamiliar with. And I just think it's not the worst day, but it's a pretty bad day.
Right. You come in here with plan A and B, and then they throw plan C at you.
Yes, exactly.
We'll get to you here in a second, Mario. I kind of agree with what you just said, but I'll just narrow it down to be more specific. I think Pioneer here might suffer more here because the story with them last year was, yes, they're competing. They may not get to the playoffs next year, but next year, especially with Bell out of the way, this could be the year to make a push and get to the postseason. Well, now guess what? You got 3 Laredo schools, 2 which might be automatics for the playoffs. Then you still got Mission Vets, who still has their senior quarterback, who still has Landry Gilpin on this team. And then you still got Sheridan High, who you never know what you might have there. And you still got Roma, you still got Rio Grande City teams that were still competitive when they were playing Valley competition. So I think of all the things like Pioneer, who had all these, might have had higher goals next year, they might have to take those goals maybe 1 or 2 steps down for them. So I'll ask the same question for you, Mario. Who had the worst day? Did you say you want to stick with the team 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 here, 32-6A?
Well, I wouldn't even single out Pioneer in that sense because I don't think the other Valley schools, I don't know if any one of them is a log to make it just because it could shake out any number of ways. It could be 3 Laredo schools and leave 1 Valley opening, or it could be 2 and then leave 2 other openings, and you don't know who would emerge from that just because I think it's a little too early to know just with players graduating and then whoever they bring up, as we saw with Mission Vets, how they get a freshman to contribute right away. So we don't know which freshman might be coming in for either one of those schools and might be able to give them a boost when fall rolls around. So I think it's too soon to tell.
Dennis, who had the best day?
PSJ Southwest.
Yeah?
PSJ Southwest. I think they came in thinking like, okay, we have another 2 more years of 6A for 5A for Southwest. The whole just, not even an obstacle really, but just the whole nuisance of having 3 of your schools in 6A and 1 school in 5A and dealing with the different policies and the different natures that come with that. And then all of a sudden you get today and You get 3 Lorraine schools thrown in. You end up in 32-5A when you thought you were going to be in 31-5A, and now you just have this opportunity granted to you where A, B, C, D, and E all had to work right for you to appeal and to move up, and A, B, C, and D all worked right, and now they're granted a chance to appeal and get all those schools together in one class. So I think by far they left today just thrilled.
Mario, who had the best day?
It's not Greg. I think Greg might be in the running for the worst. Greg Luke, our 36A writer. I don't know. I think in my district, I guess, especially in 31-5, I don't think anyone really stands out there. I'm looking 36A, nothing happened there. Maybe those districts where nothing happened because it's just another year, another 2 years of the same thing, and nothing really changes for them. So maybe 36A as a whole might have had the best day.
Seems like Vela to me had the best day. I mean, PHSL had a really good day from what Dennis just said. So to me, it seems like Vela had a really good day here as well because they make a clean transition from 5A to 6A. And like I said, they're in this district where, at least in terms of football, not really much here in the way. I mean, aside from you're going to have Vela, you're going to have PSG North, and then Econ and Edinburgh North. I think those are your 4 playoff teams, and everybody else are still teams that are young and trying to build something there. So I think Vela is going to make a smooth transition to 6A and still be play at a very high level.
You couldn't ask for a better transition.
Oh no! Oh no! This was cupcake for Vela. So, and anything else? In terms of 4A, we should touch on 4A.
Oh yeah.
Nothing happened in 4A. At least for Valley schools, it's still the same in terms of D1 and D2. So.
Yeah. So everything stays the same as far as our Upper Valley: Hidalgo, Gruya, Kingsville King, Zapata. I'm missing someone.
Progresso?
No. Gruya,
Rio Hondo?
Hidalgo,
Rio Hondo?
Just
look it up.
But yeah, so they stay the same. I think there's still 5 teams competing for playoff spots there. It is Hidalgo, Kingsville King, La Feria,
Right. Okay.
Gruya, and Zapata. So that stays the same. The other 4A with Port Isabel, West Oso, Orange Grove, Raymondville, Rio Hondo, that stays the same. And yeah, I think that was just.
We talked about these district realignments, with football being the frame of reference here.
Mm-hmm.
What about other sports? Do these like, I know for 31-6A for football it might not be strong, but for other sports it might be a more competitive district. Do these I know you cover baseball, right?
Yeah.
You cover baseball. Does baseball seem more intriguing here for any other districts with these changes? And same for you for any of your other beats that you cover? Boys basketball or anything along those lines, softball, anything else change here for some of these other sports?
Well, I'll say last time that I went through this, the athletic director in Brownsville ISD was saying how they saw the changes as a positive thing because considering how competitive they are in soccer, they would have the chance to have 2 Brownsville teams possibly compete in the state tournament or the regional tournament, whereas before a district that was that loaded, you would have a really, really good team not make it. So it has ramifications to other sports, and I think that's what we'll see in the next couple months is how it affects that. Like in basketball, you have Edinburgh Vela competing now, maybe in a more competitive district because in boys basketball at least, Vela's going to run away with it. They're scoring 100 points, every other week. And so in boys basketball at least, it'll impact them now playing with Wesco, which might be a 2-time district champion now. And so they'll have a little bit more competitiveness in that district.
Right. And for you?
31-6A, which is probably the best. 31-6A and 31-5A are probably the best districts right now for baseball. They should probably stay that way. Even Vela still moves to 31-6A, and still Edinburgh High is really good in baseball. Edinburgh North, all the Edinburgh schools, with the exception of probably Economies, are probably really good for baseball. And then you have PSG North is turning around. They had a good season under first-year head coach Renee Sosa, and PSG Memorial is getting there. PSG High's always been good in baseball. So 31-6A is fine. 31-5A now will be interesting because you do add the 3 baseball schools, and now and that's, I think, remains still a really, really, really good basketball district. Martin and Nixon just are tradition rich as far as going deep in the playoffs in basketball. And then you still have Sherilyn, Pioneers getting better. Roma's always a perennial power there. Rio Grande City will probably keep on making the move up. So I think basketball-wise, things still look good, and baseball-wise, I still expect things to stay the same. Although I think, I was going to try to find some other
With some of these other sports, I mean, with football, it's kind of hard to kind of gauge, like especially when Laredo schools come in. Like you said, these schools like Sherrill and Mission Vets aren't necessarily familiar with some of these Laredo schools because it's such a hassle to get a whole football team up to Laredo and all those buses. But with basketball and softball and soccer, baseball, all these tournaments, all these things, they play Laredo schools and Corpus schools all the time.
Yeah.
So we have a better gauge of how those districts might play out in terms of those sports. 31 6A girls basketball. First of all, for girls basketball, 32 6A is going to be super intense now. You're going to have the same, Weslaco, Harlingen, Los Fresno, San Benito, all those teams are good. And then for 31 6A, Bella coming up. I can't wait for next year. I want to watch Jada Muhammad of Edinburgh Bella play Jayla Santa Maria of Edinburgh High. I want to watch that. That's going to be fun. That's going to be a really entertaining district. So, although for football, that might be one of the weaker districts we have. The girls basketball, that's going to be probably one of the more entertaining, more competitive ones. In terms of track and field and swimming and diving, I'm trying to think. Nothing really stands off the top of my head right now because those are more individual sports than anything else. So, anything else we want to talk about here? Anything else? Any other thoughts we have? Or
I guess Cesar Castillo, the head coach of Monte Alto football, is going to be the DC at Donna North.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Good bit, breaking news.
Hashtag breaking news. Are you the Woj of Monte Alto football?
Yeah.
That was overheard, so I won't take credit for that.
I mean, hey, you just said it now. Yeah, therefore it is news. Therefore you broke the news.
Mario sources.
Hashtag Mario sources. Anything else, guys? Are we good to go? I mean, what's going on? You're covering the Vipers right now, Dennis. What's good in the world of the Rio Grande Valley Vipers?
It's interesting only the fact they have denounced amount of units down here for the Rockets to. He actually just right now just got recalled back to the Rockets, but he's expected to play at least 2 or 3 more games with the Vipers to rehab that sore back of his, and then he should be ready to go in maybe a week and a half. And then baseball they started practices last week, and the season starts 2 weeks.
Cool. What's going on in the world of boys basketball and wrestling as well?
Wrestling, big week. There's 2 district meets this week. 5A is Wednesday and Thursday. 6A is Friday, Saturday. I'll be at both of those. I'll be there at the second day of each of them because, I mean, obviously it's a 2-day tournament and they'll finalize it the second day. It goes all day, like 7-8 hours, I think, if I remember correctly. And expect Rio Grande City to put up a pretty good fight there. Especially the boys. Edinburgh Valley girls should challenge Rio Grande City's girls also. Softball's going to start soon also. The Soul are going to start too.
They're going to be playing in a vast open field because their stadium is not going to be finished. They say it's going to be finished, but I'll be damned if I don't believe them, Mario.
Well, their home opener is a month after the season opener, so
The Toros, not the Soul.
The Toros. I
The
don't know what
Toros,
the Soul.
RGVFC Toros.
The
Toros.
Soul, we don't know about the Soul anymore. But the Toros will start in next month, and then their home opener in late April.
What have they even done on the stadium?
When I went, it seemed like they were far away from it, but I mean,
But hey, don't let them.
I will say the practice facility at one point seemed like there's no way it's going to get done in time. And I don't know if they worked 24-hour days for 7 days a week, but it got done when the last possible time they could get it
We'll
done.
see. We'll see what's going on here. So.
I mean, I figured
they have a home date, so.
Well, I mean, I figured if you have enough people, can't you just hire more people and get it done quicker?
Well, there's this thing called a construction budget, and if the construction company comes in under budget or at budget, they get a bonus. So.
Well, the owner of the team owns the construction company.
Oh, how convenient! How convenient! Oh man, look at that! Look at that, you guys. That answers so many questions right there. Oh man. Anyway, I've only been in the valley for like a year and a half at this point, and one thing I've learned real quick is that construction is wrought with delays, whether it's at the high school level or now at the pro level. So
well, even the Edinburgh Wellness Center I think took a long time. The Cheap Bolton took a long time at Edinburgh. A lot of things in Edinburgh just kind of don't.
Yeah. Anyways, in my world right now, girls basketball playoffs are right around the corner. Next Tuesday, February 9th, is the end of the regular season. Playoffs are right around the corner for that. In terms of swimming and diving, regionals are this weekend. 5A is going to be in Corpus. 6A teams will be in Brownsville. Track and field starts next weekend as well. I'm going to do some reporting on a preseason feature that'll be out next week. Look for that. And with that, I think we got wrap things up here. Any final thoughts before we go?
Who are the front runners for all area girls basketball?
All area girls basketball. Belle Palacios of PH North had a hell of a season. Jaslyn Nunez of Weslaco High has had a hell of a season. Ashley Smith, Mission Vets, Josie Amaya, Rio Grande City, Anna Marshall, Sharon High. Maida Garcia, McAllen Rowe, there's all kinds of girls up there. It's still got a ways to go. I mean, we know who's in the playoffs. We don't even know who's going to be a district champion. There's 2 districts where we might have a 3-way tie for a district championship, depending on how that works out. So
Craziness.
it's going to be cool. We can't wait to see how it comes down, how things are going to play out here. But anyways, final thoughts before we go. Are we good?
Active morning.
Active morning, super active morning. It smelled like a stock floor exchange in here with the way that everyone was all.
It sounded like it.
Yeah, it did. I got here a little late and I showed up and I couldn't find Dennis and he was just kind of back in the corner, like he's pressed up against the wall. It's like, hey Dennis, you okay? He's like, I'm fine. Bashing away his story because Laredo just got put in 31-5A #breaking news. So, all right, we did it, guys.
Good stuff.
Congratulations. For those of you who listen to this podcast regularly, we apologize for not having a basketball podcast last week. Some things got in our way. We got a little bit busy, but we will try and have that for you this week as well. So until then, take care. We can find this audio on RGVSports.com. You can find the links on Facebook and Twitter. On Facebook, we're RGVSports.com. On Twitter, at RGVSports. Dennis, if the good people want to follow you, where can they hit you up?
At Den Silva 2.
Mario.
Mario_Aguirre.
Mm.
And you can find me at John LaFollette, and we'll see you next time, folks. Thank you so much. Nailed it. Cool.
Nice. How long?
Like 30 minutes.
Wow, not bad.
Ugh.